We have this amazing greenhouse, and it is so helpful for extending our season because we can harvest year-round food in here if we have our timing right in terms of when we sow seeds and transplant plants. And that's something that Bend Urban Gardens does, is help create crop plans for any size garden so that you can meet your goals in terms of what your family would like to eat. So this greenhouse is amazing because in Bend, it's really not recommended to transplant your cold sensitive plants like tomatoes and peppers until June, because that's typically when we have our last frost. But of course we can have frost any day of the year in Central Oregon. So we always need to be prepared with frost protection, and that could be as simple as a wall of water around an individual plant in a small garden with a tomato cage around it and then row cover draped over it, or it could be a mini hoop house like those that Bend Urban Gardens creates, or even more of a DIY mini hoop house design, which is also something Bend Urban Gardens offers as well, that at a little lower price point. So we have tomato starts here that we started in early February because this spinach over here is already getting a little too hot being in this greenhouse. It's starting to bolt. It's starting to get longer stems and try to go through the next part of its life cycle. So we're going to transplant these tomatoes next as our next planting in here. We like to just keep the production going. And so, you know, that's going to happen here in April. So that buys us a lot more time than if we didn't have the greenhouse to keep these plants protected and warm, and hopefully that means we'll be able to eat tomatoes for more time this season. We are growing fava beans here in this bed as a crop that we're going to get to harvest and eat, but also as kind of a cover crop to feed our soil, since legumes fix nitrogen from the atmosphere. They're able to take that nitrogen and turn it into a form that other plants can benefit from. And so we kind of rotate peas and beans in this space to feed the soil a little bit. We also have a worm bin in our bed, and so every time we're cultivating the soil a little bit to get a nice seed bed, or just you know, really feeling our soil moisture to see if we need to water, I'm always finding worms everywhere I look. So they're just pretty active in these beds, and as a result, we're not really having to worry too much right now about our soil health and our fertility, because they're adding so much good stuff. We originally planted peas in this spot in September, October, and then we had an accidental flood in the greenhouse, and we had some refilling of soil we needed to do, and the plants unfortunately kind of got attacked by some pests that were on our cucumbers that were starting to peter out from the season. So we decided to compost them, and we re-sowed seed here on November 14th. And it actually germinated before we got too cold. It was a pretty warm November though. And then it just took off in mid-February once our days got longer again. And you can see these are climbing peas, and they definitely use their trellis. If they had more trellis, they would probably be 12 feet tall. And these are sugar snaps, and then we've got a few different bush pea varieties, which are peas that could kind of go either way in terms of needing a trellis or some sort of support. You can tell that if I had support on these, they would be standing a little more upright, and they've kind of draped over the bed, but sometimes people like that look too. They're still producing. It's just a little bit easier to pick the peas when you can stand up and find them. They kind of like to camouflage, but when you have bush varieties, you know, you've just got to lean down and pick them. So the bush varieties, though, definitely started producing peas earlier by a few weeks actually, versus the climbers, but we're getting more peas now off of the climbers.